I'll hit record here. I record all my sessions, and you'll get a copy of that recording tomorrow. I'll send it to whatever email address you gave me. So let me minimize my GoToMeeting, otherwise I don't have enough room to write. And I'm subtracting x times 4x minus 3. So what do I need to do here?
Multiply the 3x minus 7 and the 2x minus 5.
Okay, we'll start there. Go ahead and do that. What do you get?
So that's 6x squared minus 15x minus 14x.
Which is minus 29x in total.
And then plus 35.
Okay. And what do I need to do over here?
Distribute
okay.
x.
So what happened? What do you get when you distribute it?
It'd be 4x squared minus 3x.
Plus 3x.
Okay.
Reason is that you have to distribute that to both terms. In other words, if my goal really is to remove the parentheses, okay? Yeah. For me to remove this parentheses here, well, I got to multiply minus x times 4x, which gives me minus 4x squared. Then I got to multiply minus x times minus 3, which gives me plus 3x. Okay? Now, I can remove these parentheses. I didn't really need them in the first place. Now combine everything, simplify.
So be 2x squared.
Which takes care of that
minus,
term and that term, okay?
Minus 26x
Good.
plus 35.
Good. And that's your answer. Okay. Yeah, let's do the next one. What do you get when you square 7x plus 2?
Oh, 7x plus 2 get...
Let me give you an easy way to... Let me teach you this, because this is pretty important. If I'm squaring a binomial term, that's a plus b times a plus b, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to do it quickly without having to FOIL it each time, it's always this. And if I have a minus b squared, it's almost exactly the same answer, only with an opposite sign on the middle term. But it's still plus b squared on the end. Okay? And the beauty of that is that it lets me expand stuff like 7x plus 2 squared. Well, the first term is 7x squared. That's what a squared would be. In other words, a is 7x, right? So what's 7x squared? What is 7x squared?
Oh, 49.
49x squared.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what's this term become? The plus 2 times a times b.
So b, so 14 times 2 is 28.
28x. In other words, you multiply the 2 times the 7x, that's a times b, that's 14x times 2 is 28x.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the third term?
Plus 2 squared, so 4.
Yeah. Notice that I was able to come up with the answer without going through the FOILing process. Yeah. And the reason this is worth memorizing, both of these, both 1 and 2, is that they make you do this so many times in algebra and the next math course you take, that you're just going to save 30 seconds every single time you do it if you've got these memorized. So it speeds up things. In other words, if speed is one of the problems, you want to use every advantage you can take to do these faster. And this is one of the things that you can use, is memorizing both of these right here. You really only have to memorize one, because notice the other one is exactly the same as the first, only it's a minus 2ab instead of plus 2ab. Okay. Now, let's look at the rest of this. We've got minus 5x times minus 3 times x plus 2. When you have double brackets like this, how do you handle it? In other words, let's just do this part next. And then we'll combine whatever we get with the other. So what am I going to distribute first?
The -3.
Yes, you always want to work from the inside out. So if you have a bunch of nested parentheses, you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
You work from the inside out. And this has just two sets of parentheses. The bracket, I could use parentheses just as easily. In other words, it doesn't have to be a bracket. I could use parentheses there. It means the same exact thing. Okay? The key is the fact that I've got a parentheses and then an immediate bracket. So I got to figure out which one to do first. Always do the inside first. So if I change that whole thing after doing the inside, what does it become? Minus 5x times what?
-3x minus 6.
Right. Again, distribute that negative sign to the 2 also. So now we got that. Now you got to distribute the minus 5x to both of those terms. So what do you get?
The 15x squared.
Plus 15x squared. I need the plus sign too, because this is part of a polynomial.
Okay.
In other words, remember this whole thing was being combined with 7x plus 2 squared. And we did that part to get that. But now we're doing the rest of it. And that's plus 15x squared. What's the final piece?
Plus 30x.
Okay. Erase some of this stuff. Combine everything for a final answer. What do you get?
49 plus 15.
That's 64.
So 64x squared.
And let me give you a little trick. These are going to get harder and harder. And when you're looking at something that might have 10 terms that you're simplifying, it's very helpful to cross them out after you've combined them like that.
Okay.
Now I can see easier what else I have left to do. Well, how many total x's do we have?
So there's 58x.
Okay.
Plus
Crosses that out, crosses that out. The only thing left is the 4. So there's the answer. All right, let's see if we can find something a little tougher. I think you got these. Well, not quite. Number 3, do you know how to multiply a trinomial times a trinomial?
Do you add the exponent when you multiply?
Well, notice that the system they teach you, or maybe they don't, but most people get taught FOIL, okay? FOIL only works for a binomial times a binomial. It doesn't work if you have a trinomial. So you got to use something else. Let me see if I can write this small enough. And what I usually teach my students isn't FOIL, it's something I call ET-ET. And what ET-ET means is you're going to multiply every term by every term. Okay? And you want to do it in a consistent manner. So start with the term on the left, multiply that times that, then multiply that times that, and then multiply that times that. And then go to the next term, minus 5x, multiply that by that, multiply that by that, multiply that by that. And then finally do the last term, the 3, multiply that, multiply that, multiply that, and then combine them all. So let's do the first term. What do you get? In other words, let's start with the 2x squared.
Okay.
Here, let me erase all these lines because that's not terribly helpful. As long as you know that you have to multiply everything by everything. Every term by every term.
So the 6x to the 4th.
Correct.
Okay. And then you get 2x to the 3rd.
Plus 2x to the 3rd.
Plus 2x to the
Again,
3rd.
we need that plus sign. If I didn't write that plus sign in there, it wouldn't have any meaning. In other words, if I just wrote that, then I got nothing. It would actually mean multiplication. So you can't always leave off plus signs just because they're plus signs. If it's part of a polynomial, you have to write them in, unless it's the very first term. Very first term, you don't need to write the plus sign. But anything that's being combined with it, you do. And what's the next term?
Minus 4x squared.
Okay, now let's go to the next term.
Okay. Then it'll be minus 15x cubed.
Yeah, and one way to do this that's a little clever is this. I'm going to write it right there.
Well,
What's the next term?
Minus 5x squared.
Okay, you see the advantage of writing it like this? They're all lined up. Okay, and the next term?
And then it would be plus 10x.
Okay. And finally, let's do the 3 now.
All right. So then it'll be 9x squared. Plus 9x squared.
And I'm going to write that there. And I actually can get away without writing the plus sign here because just the way I'm writing it. In other words, we're not coming up with the final polynomial yet. We will, and then I would need to put a plus sign there. But as long as I'm going to do the problem like this, I don't have to put a plus sign in front of that 9 yet. What's the next term?
3x.
And finally?
Minus 6.
Okay. So we've got everything done. And the beauty of doing it this way is now I can vertically add. And I don't even have to do that where I cross out terms. Okay, so if I add all of these, what do I got?
You get 6x to the 4th. Minus 13x cubed.
Good.
And then you get rid of the x squared.
Okay.
So then it would just be plus 13x minus 6.
Right. And this way is a little easier, I think. Especially because if I had written everything horizontally, I would have had 9 terms. And that's what I mean. Sometimes you're looking at so many terms that it's hard to then combine them. But if you write them like this, where they vertically line up together, then it's real easy to combine all of the x cubes or all of the x squareds. All right. Madison, I'm going to have to let you go because I have an 8 o'clock tonight that I got to get to.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
But yeah, no, I think this is going to work, especially if we can get your audio working. But even without, the sound is pretty good from your phone and my phone. So that's not a key thing. Even if you can't get it working, it won't be much different.
All right, well, I'll play with it.
Yeah,
later.
if you can figure out how to get it working,
Okay.
that's fine. But I will talk to you next time. Now, let me just ask. I don't think I got an email for you. Let me see if you, let's see. Did you leave it on here? Is this madisonhatchett6@gmail.com?
Yeah.
Okay. How about your dad or mom? Who should I send these envoices to?
An email.
Yeah, I never got either one of their email. Give me the
Okay.
email that you want me to send them to. Whoever.
Sue Winker, so WINKEER @comcast.net.
EER?
Yes.
And let me just write that on the screen to make sure I didn't misspell it. Winker?
Mm-hmm.
Winkier? 2 E's?
Yep.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Madison, nice having an online session with you. I'll talk to you next time. Now, incidentally, the next time, well, it kind of depends. If we're going to use the phone for audio, I'll always call. But
Okay.
if we get to a point where we can use the computer, then the only thing I do is text you the meeting ID number. And
Okay.
you should have an icon on your desktop now that looks like, see this icon up here that looks like the flower?
Yeah.
You should have that somewhere on your desktop. So the next time you go to join a meeting, all you have to do is double click on that, put in the meeting ID number, and you immediately are in. In other words, you don't need to re-download the software. You don't need to go to that website every time.
Okay, yeah.
You just need to run the Join the GoToMeeting program. Okay?
All right.
All right. Have a good evening. Talk to you.